Good afternoon. I'm Ed Gullickson from the Amory area, President of Polk-Burnett Board. I'd like to welcome you to the 82nd annual meeting of the Electric Cooperative. We are meeting online today for public safety during the COVID-19 pandemic. Whether we meet in person or through this new technology, the annual meeting is an essential requirement of our co-op business model and an important way for co-op members, directors, and employees to connect and communicate with one another. Today's annual meeting agenda includes a State of the Cooperative report by General Manager Steve Stroshane, results of the 2020 board election, and a member question and answer forum, giving you an opportunity to make comments and ask questions through the online chat. You'll find the chat box on the left side of your screen. There are two tabs, Chat and Support. The Chat tab is highlighted by default. Below the tabs is a small section that reads, Enter your chat text here. Then click the Send button after typing the message. We know that this new format is a change and a challenge for many of us, but we greatly appreciate the effort that has gone into making this meeting happen. I'd like to take a few moments to thank the following people. Our team from Wind Technologies, who has been so instrumental in making an online meeting possible. Attorney Tim Louts for assisting with the board election and requirements of this annual meeting. The Board of Directors for their hard work and dedication to the co-op throughout the year. Polk-Burnett employees for their service throughout the year, and especially these last few months during the health pandemic. And most importantly, you, the members of Polk-Burnett Electric Cooperative. We would not be what we are without each of our members. You are why we are here and why we work hard every day to keep the lights on. Thank you. We thank each of you for participating in this unique format. Our bylaws state that the number of members to constitute a quorum at a meeting of the members shall be 50. Since we have more than that registered at our meeting this afternoon, we have a quorum, so I will officially call this meeting to order. You will find a copy of the minutes from the 2019 annual meeting in the resources box. Excuse me, I'll back up. The official notice of the annual meeting pictured for you here was mailed to all Polk-Burnett Electric Cooperative members in the June power lines in accordance with Article 5, Section 3 of the Polk-Burnett bylaws. The meeting was also announced in local newspapers, on our website and Facebook page. Official proof of this mailing is available for anyone seeking verification. You will find a copy of the minutes from the 2019 annual meeting in the resources box. You can access resources by clicking on the resources icon in the bottom left of the screen. Please take a minute to open and review the 2019 meeting minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If so, please enter them in the chat box at this time. At this time, I am asking for corrections to the minutes from the 2019 annual meeting. What came up on the chat box is a question for the Q&A at a later time during this program. I see no corrections, so the minutes from the 2019 annual meeting are received and approved as published. Thank you. Now I'm pleased to introduce your co-op board of directors. They are elected by you, the members, to represent you by setting policy and direction for the cooperative. Board directors are online with you this afternoon. Your co-op directors are District 1, Cindy Thorman of Osceola. District 2, Mike Morris of Luck. District 3, Ed Gullickson of Amory. District 4, Joe Mitro of Balsam Lake. District 5, Jeff Trainer of Balsam Lake. District 6, Wilford Owens of Frederick. District 7, Jerry Okonek of Spooner. District 8, Chuck Brookshaw of Webster. District 9, Tom Swenson of Webster. I'd like to thank our board and employees for their dedication and contribution to the co-op. This is your co-op, and we work for you. Next, General Manager Steve Stroshane will share our State of the Co-op report.
Good afternoon. I'm Steve Stroshane, General Manager at Polk-Burnett Electric Cooperative. Next, I'll provide you with an update on the state of the cooperative and our 2020 strategic goals. My report will highlight the co-op's financial condition, our efforts to upgrade the electric system and improve your power quality, and how we're making a positive difference in the community. First, I'd like to share how we're working to power our community during times of crisis, including the COVID-19 public health emergency and July 2019 storm. From the beginning, we put plans in place for the continued delivery of reliable electricity to your homes, farms, and businesses. Our top priority is always providing you with safe, reliable power. We followed CDC guidelines in Wisconsin's Safer at Home orders for physical distancing to protect our community and to keep our employees safe. We closed our lobbies in Centurion and Siren on March 16th, but our drive-through phone lines and website have remained open. Throughout the pandemic, we have been fully staffed to continue normal operations with linemen and dispatchers on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our key messages to you. We're here for you to keep your power on and to provide you with the service you expect. We encourage members to use electronic options for payments and transactions, including our Smart Hub app to track electricity use, view and report outages, and pay your bill. We've shared regular safety and energy saving tips with our members. Remember, as families spend more time sheltering at home during the COVID-19 pandemic, you may see an increase in home energy use and upcoming electric bills. Please let us know if we can help. And we continue to encourage everyone to support local businesses and families. Remember, we're all stronger together. Last summer on July 19, 2019, a tornado, torrential rain, and straight-line winds caused widespread damage and power outages for 9,000 co-op members across Polk-Burnett service territory. Hardest hit were the areas in Polk County, east of Luck, Milltown, and Balsam Lake, and north of Amory and Turtle Lake, especially in the areas around Half Moon, White Ash, Pipe, Long, Big Round, Blake, Horseshoe, and Staples Lakes. We replaced 325 broken poles, repaired or replaced 114 transformers, and cleared 348 miles of right-of-way. We had to purchase a lot of new materials, and co-op crews worked many hours of overtime to restore power in a timely manner. As you recall, we were assisted by crews from 11 neighboring cooperatives and 3 contractors with expertise in tree clearing, underground and overhead power line construction. More than 100 people were working in the field, and a dozen more were coordinating restoration efforts in our Century office. By the end of the week, all the lights were back on for Polk-Burnett members. We'd like to share a short video that shows July 2019 storm damage across Polk County and outage restoration efforts by your co-op employees. Rebuilding after the storm was expensive. The storm led to a disaster declaration by the state of Wisconsin, and public property damage across the region was extensive enough to qualify for FEMA reimbursement. Polk-Burnett Electric Cooperative submitted claims to FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Association, to help cover expenses from the July 2019 storm. The total cost to repair storm damage across our co-op system is $2.2 million to date. This includes $1.6 million for distribution system repairs and $564,000 for right-of-way clearing. Between the two federal and state disaster declarations, we hope to be reimbursed for approximately 87.5% of the eligible storm expenses. Polk-Burnett's distribution system includes 1,717 miles of underground cable, 1,695 miles of overhead wire, 21,000 meters, and 38,000 poles. We are proud to be in the top 25% of co-ops nationwide for reliability, and our members experience an average of just 2 hours of power outages per year. We are always working to improve this. Looking at the chart, you can see a red line under and a blue line. The red line is outages with storms and major events included. We can't control these events, but when you look at the blue line and exclude those major events, you can see the positive trends we've accomplished over the years. In this chart, you can see that the miles of overhead line decrease over time. One of the ways we've accomplished improved reliability is converting 20 to 25 miles of line per year from overhead to underground. We started this conversion program in 2004, and now we have more underground miles of line than overhead. One of our strategic goals is having one of the lowest outage rates in the state. While we can't do much about the weather, we are always investing in our system. In 2020, we will invest $4.9 million to upgrade and maintain a reliable electric system for you. Our 2020 work plan includes converting 25 miles of overhead line to underground line, building 14 miles of overhead power line, replacing 20 miles of aging underground cable, improving substation equipment and grid redundancies so power can be rerouted during outages, clearing trees and brush from the right-of-way to improve safety and reduce outages, and replacing 53 poles that didn't pass inspection. Polk-Burnett prides itself on providing reliable service. One of our strategic initiatives has been to improve service when a transmission line has a problem. When a problem occurs on a high voltage transmission line, it impacts multiple substations in a large geographic area. The people impacted may even be served by different utilities. Polk-Burnett does not own, operate, or maintain any transmission lines. We only own the lines from the substations to your electric meter. To improve our service to members when a transmission line causes an outage at our substation, We're installing technology to transfer the flow of electricity so your home receives power from a different substation. We plan to be able to remotely control all of this type of equipment. The first substation to get this technology upgrade is the Meenon substation, serving the area around Webster. The Meenon substation is served by a northwestern Wisconsin electric transmission line and has experienced an above average number of outages. The improvement plan will occur over 3 years. While these upgrades cannot prevent the outage from the transmission lines, we hope that it will restore power faster. If it works at Meenon, we will then deploy it to other areas across the system. Another priority is controlling costs to hold rates down and avoid large, frequent rate increases for our members. After 11 years without a rate increase, we know a rate increase is coming. But like you, Polk-Burnett has tightened its belt since the economic downturn a decade ago, and we're watching expenses closely with the new COVID-related economic downturn. Since 2010, the co-op has reduced our workforce by 18 employees. We now have 49 electric co-op employees, of which 18 are linemen. We've invested in technologies to make work more efficient and cost-effective while improving member service. We've held rates steady. We've had no rate increases since 2010, and we do not plan to have a rate increase in 2020. We've held off for more than 10 years, and the reality is we won't be able to push this down the road for much longer. We are looking at a possible rate increase in 2021. We'll keep you posted and informed. We work hard to keep expenses per mile of line lower than other utilities. Our financial report is attached for you in the resource box. I'd like to share just a few financial highlights with you. For 2019, Polk-Burnett Electric Cooperative showed $98 million in assets and $38 million in operating revenue on the consolidated financial statement. Consolidated net margins were $4.4 million. Polk-Burnett sold just over 237 million kilowatt hours of electricity. Electric revenue per member in 2019 was $1,608. I'm pleased to report this is below the state median. See the financial report in your program, and the complete 2019 audit is posted on polkburnett.com. Do you know that 57 cents of every dollar we collect goes to purchase power generated from Dairyland Power Cooperative? Our cost to purchase power in 2019 was $19.3 million. Polk-Burnett does not own power plants. We buy electricity and distribute it to you, our 20,000 plus co-op members. We are one of 24 members of Dairyland Power Cooperative, and what happens at Dairyland and in the power market has a significant impact on our costs. 57 cents of every dollar we collect goes to purchase power. Picture a dollar in your pocket. Take away 57 cents, and what's left? That's what we have to work with to build and maintain the power lines and to do the work we do to keep your lights on, to provide you with reliable power and extraordinary member service. As you can see, our performance is strong, and nothing proves that more than the ability to return capital credits to our members. One of the greatest advantages of co-op membership is capital credits. As a co-op, money beyond expenses is always returned to members as capital credits. In 2019, we returned more than $1 million to co-op members. The number you see in the yellow box here reflects money returned to members on October of 2019 electric bills. The higher number in the center of the slide, $1.2 million, is the 2019 total that includes the state payouts. If you purchased electricity in 1991, 1992, 1996, 1999, and or 2016, you got money back. Beyond capital credits, Polk-Burnett helps members conserve energy and save money by offering Energy Sense rebates on appliances, lighting, heating, and air conditioning, and more. In 2019, members received more than $160,000 in Energy Sense rebates, and Energy Sense rebates helped members save more than 860,000 kilowatt hours of electricity. If you want to upgrade your home for comfort and energy efficiency, contact the co-op to learn how rebates can help you. We want to remind everyone that we support the sustainable growth of alternative energy for our local membership. Polk-Burnett also offers rebates for members who install residential solar and wind, and you can purchase renewable energy blocks through our Evergreen program. We offer $250 per kW, up to $750 total of rebates for installations of residential solar, and we buy any excess energy back at what the average wholesale market price is for that given month. The 10-acre Centuria solar array opened in Centuria in 2017 and is generating renewable power for our membership. You can view our solar energy tracker at polkburnett.com. We're pleased to offer a growing renewable energy supply to our members through Dairyland Power Cooperative, our La Crosse-based power provider. At present, about 20% of the energy that flows into our distribution system from Dairyland is from renewable sources. Each year, Dairyland adds more solar and wind generation to reduce carbon emissions. Dairyland announced two major renewable energy investments in 2019, an agreement to purchase power from the 149-megawatt Badger State Solar Facility in Wisconsin and the proposed 52-megawatt Tatanka Ridge Wind Energy Facility in South Dakota. Other recent additions to Dairyland's renewable energy portfolio include purchase power agreements with the 98-megawatt Quilt Block wind farm in Wisconsin, that's pictured above, and the 80-megawatt Barton wind farm in Iowa. In addition, 18 new solar energy facilities are generating solar energy at co-ops across the Dairyland system, including the Centuria solar array right here at Polk-Burnett's Centuria office. A major component of Dairyland's sustainable generation plan is evaluating how long Dairyland should continue to operate existing coal plants. In January, the difficult decision was made to retire the 345-megawatt coal-fired Genoa Station No. 3. Many factors were considered when making that decision, including the age of the facility, system capacity, regulatory requirements, projected maintenance costs, fuel supply, overall cost of power production, and the regional market prices for energy. Genoa Station No. 3 provided more than 50 years of safe, reliable electricity for our members. When the contracted fuel supply is depleted, the plant will close. The estimated retirement is between June and December of 2021. This reflects our shared goal to be future ready for our members. Polk-Burnett works hard to improve our local quality of life, not only with reliable power, but also with support for our local community. Each year, we're proud to support our community with the Operation Roundup grants. Grants are funded by the generosity of our members like you who round up your electric bills. In 2019, Operation Roundup awarded more than $65,000 to 78 local nonprofits, including schools, fire departments, and libraries. Since its beginning, the program has given more than $868,000 to local nonprofits that serve local people. A list of all the 2019 Operation Roundup grants is in the resource box. Again, these grants are funded not through rates, but through your donations. Polk-Burnett is also proud to award scholarships each year to sons and daughters of co-op members. In 2019, the co-op gave $57,500 in scholarships to 46 students who each received a $1,250 scholarship to attend a technical school, college, or university. For this year's class of 2020, we upped the number of scholarships to 54 for a total of $67,500 in scholarships. $778,500 has been awarded since the program began in 1987. It's important to note that scholarships, just like Operation Roundup, do not affect your electric rates. They are funded with unclaimed capital credit dollars that otherwise would be forfeited to the state. Prior to 1987, Polk-Burnett was required to give unclaimed capital credits to the state of Wisconsin. Now the co-op can use these unclaimed dollars for education, and we're proud to offer scholarships to the children of our members. New this year, we're giving members the option to donate your capital credits to the co-op scholarship program. Give us a call if you'd like us to help you set this up. You can see lists of all 2019 and 2020 co-op scholarship winners attached in the resource box. Last year, co-op employees performed 634 hours of community service. I'd like to share this 1-minute video to show you a few of the places co-op employees made a difference. We are your co-op community ambassadors, and we provide more than reliable electricity. We're improving the lives of our neighbors and making our hometown a better place to live, work, and play. You can see in this next video that there is no place we'd rather be. These are just a few of the highlights we wanted to share about our performance of your cooperative. I invite you to read your Powerlines newsletter, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and visit our website often to stay in touch. Thank you for your support and your membership. We're proud to be your trusted source of reliable electricity and extraordinary service. Now I'll turn the meeting over to Tim Laux, our co-op attorney, for the results of our 2020 board election.
Good afternoon. My name's Tim Laux, legal counsel for Polk-Burnett Electric Cooperative. I am charged with reporting on the procedure and results of the 2020 board election for Districts 1, 2, and 3. Directors are elected by the membership for 3-year terms, commencing later this month. The election was conducted by mail or web ballot with an independent election contractor, Survey and Ballot Systems. Election results were tabulated from ballots received on or before May 27, 2020, according to the bylaws. The certified results account for 1,188 ballots, 1,045 paper ballots, and 143 online ballots from 6,827 eligible members, yielding a participation rate of 17.4%. Now, pursuant to Bylaw Article 5, Section 3, Subsection B, I report as follows. In District 1, Cindy Thorman ran unopposed and was re-elected for another 3-year term, commencing with the July regular board meeting later this month. She received 345 votes. There were 6 write-in ballots. No write-in received more than 1 vote. 8 ballots were unexercised and went uncounted. In District 2, Mike Morris, the incumbent, ran against Eric Vitalis and was re-elected for a 3-year term commencing with the July regular board meeting later this month. Morris received 308 votes and Mr. Vitalis received 155 votes. There were 4 write-in ballots, 1 ballot was unexercised, and 10 ballots were invalid and went uncounted. In District 3, Ed Gullickson ran unopposed and was re-elected for another 3-year term, commencing with the July regular board meeting later this month. He received 339 votes. There were 3 write-in ballots. No write-in received more than 1 vote. 9 ballots were unexercised and went uncounted. All the election materials will be retained through July 19th, 2020. After that date, unless there has been an inquiry or a challenge to the results reported here today, all the election records and materials will be destroyed. On behalf of all the members, thank you to the candidates and all of those who participate in the director election process. Now I'll turn the presentation back to General Manager Steve Stroshane for the member forum.
Next, we'd like to hear from you. One advantage of co-op membership is democratic member control, meaning members have a voice in the way their electric cooperative operates. Your opinions and feedback give all of us at the cooperative better understanding of what members want and need so we can provide you with the best service and plan for the future. We'd like to thank you for participating in the annual meeting today, and we'll address your comments and questions at this time. Please enter your comments and questions in the chat box. You'll find the chat box in the left side of your screen. There are two tabs, Chat and Support. The Chat tab is highlighted by default. Below the tabs is a small section that reads, Enter your chat text here. Then click the Send button after typing the message. Okay, and we've already received a couple chats in the chat box already, so I'll start answering the questions. The first question is, over $1,600 per member of excess 2019 revenue. What are your plans for those monies? So that's actually not $1,600 per member of excess revenue. That's total revenue divided by total active services. So that's really the revenue per service today. And as we said, all the co-op expenses have to come out of that yet. So right away, 57% of that money goes to purchase power. So what that actually is the top line number, and the bottom line number is different than that. So that really is not excess revenue. The margin that's left over at the end of the year will be used to fund the operations of the cooperative for future years. The second question received is, why are we spending money on new overhead lines? Why not use all underground lines? So this is really a transition took place at Polk-Burnett back in 2004, where we really focused more on underground and less on overhead. But you still need overhead lines today because it's just not practical to install all underground for really constructability reasons, access reasons. So there's still reasons that we need to build overhead lines, but as you can see from the previous graph that we showed today, the quantity of underground lines is definitely increasing. We're converting 20 to 25 miles per year, and that amount that we convert from overhead to underground per year keeps growing. And but we can't get away from the overhead lines. We need them for ties between substations, where other areas where underground is just not practical over swampy area or inaccessible areas. So we can't eliminate all overhead lines, but we are making a concerted effort to install underground lines. And you can see the benefit of those underground lines when you look at our reliability performance, how that's continued to improve, and the fact that we're installing more underground lines is the reason for that improvement. The next question is regarding rates. Why is it less expensive for 12 months per year versus stopping and starting service for seasonal users of 6 months per year? The primary reason for that is the lines, the facilities, the trucks to operate those facilities, all that has to be present 12 months a year. It doesn't go away when the seasonal season is done. So our service charges, our service availability charges is really set to having a member there 12 months per year. In addition, it costs money to roll a truck out if someone wants to disconnect for 6 months. So we need to roll a truck to disconnect them and then roll a truck again to reconnect them in the springtime. So that's why it does cost more if you just want to have your service connected 6 months per year, because those lines, we don't take the lines down when you leave. I mean, the lines are there all the time and have to be maintained whether somebody's there or not. So that's why the service availability is priced for 12 months per year of service. The next question is, glad you're moving away from coal. I guess it's more of a comment than a question, but I mean, that is the direction of the entire industry right now. It's really based, in my opinion, it's really based on multiple things, but economics definitely plays into it. If you look at the wholesale power market today, there's just a surplus of energy on the market, and it's driving the price down, and it's making coal-fired plants less economic to run. But yet, you do still need them in certain times of the year when the wind isn't blowing and the sun isn't shining. You need some other plant to carry the load when the renewables can't. And that happened a couple years ago during the wintertime. It was so cold out that the windmills, the wind turbines had reached a capacity limit that they weren't running. All the solar panels were covered with snow, and it was other generation that was picking up the slack. So you cannot completely move away from, at this time, from fossil fuel generation, but there is the trend of, there's trend. The trend is that the coal plants are becoming less economic to run. So just feedback on that comment. Next one, why can't the service charge be lowered and the energy charge be increased per kW so it could be more affordable to lower the consumption to electrical users? The way we do studies to determine what is the proper amount for our service availability charge, and it's really what has to be there all day long, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to provide you power at any time of the day. And that's kind of how we came up with that $36 per month charge. We break it down per day, but it comes out to on average $36 per month. And it's really based on what's the minimum amount of facilities we need to be able to provide you power any time of the day, any time of the year. So when we go into our next, and we look at these charges at a minimum every 5 years, and we looked at it again last year, and we'll be looking at it again this year. And coming out of that is we will probably, if we probably need to make a change at this next rate change that we kind of talked about, it probably will be towards the kilowatt hour charge, but that is still to be determined. But we are aware of the concern with our service availability charge. The next question, what will replace baseload power, renewables? What happens when the sun does not shine and the wind does not blow, especially in the wintertime? Will we expect to see more interruptions because of the unstable energy supplies? I wouldn't expect any more interruptions. I guess I kind of addressed that with the previous comment. It is something that's constantly studied, and they're transitioning away from coal into natural gas, and natural gas is really a bridge to the next generation. But as I said, you still do need baseload power. I think those are more called intermediate load systems where you can't get away from the fossil fuel at this time, because there are times when it's cloudy out, solar panels are covered by snow, and the renewables just aren't producing at certain times of the day. You do need some baseload power at that point. But as I said, the trend is in the market to be for more renewables. We are constantly being told how great it is to be part of Polk-Burnett, as unlike investor-owned utilities, as owners, we are in control of running our own company. Unfortunately, reality is a little more nuanced. 40% of Polk-Burnett members are seasonal members who are being treated as second-class owners. We have no representation on the board. We are not allowed to run our own candidates for the board, and to top it off, we aren't allowed to challenge Polk-Burnett's policies in front of the Wisconsin Public Utilities Commission. When is the co-op going to end this hypocrisy and provide representation on the board for seasonal cabin owners? So Polk-Burnett, I mean, this question has been submitted before. This question has been discussed at previous annual meetings before. And all seasonal members, they do have the ability to vote for a candidate. Just like school boards, local town boards, you have to reside as a permanent resident in order to be elected a board of director. So, I mean, Polk-Burnett is no different than that. This is very common among, all cooperatives. And Polk-Burnett has brought this issue to the board table in the past, discussed it, and decided to keep it the way it is. As I said, the seasonal cabin owners do have the ability to vote they have a vote. And they can vote whoever they want, and they have the ability to, lobby and come before the board, and just like any other member does. In general, I think the cooperative has been performing quite well, and this issue was just discussed before the board. So Mr. Schumann, the person that submitted the question, has come before the annual meeting before and requested the same comment, and it has been discussed, and the board has decided to keep it the way it is. Next question, how many electric vehicles are currently utilizing Polk-Burnett's off-peak service? The answer to that is we have about 30 electrical vehicles connected to our off-peak system. And it's an interesting area of growth, and we've been supportive of this and encouraging this. We've had, prior to the COVID pandemic, we've had in-person meetings here at Polk-Burnett to try to encourage electric vehicles. And it's been very positive, a very positive response, and it is a growing area of service that we're seeing. How to participate in Operation Roundup? That's just easy. That's just you can call our office and we'll get you signed up for that. It's a great program. Again, this is all funded by the members rounding up their bill, and it's interesting just how a small, change, but when you add up a large group of people committing a small amount of money, can impact. And we've provided the list of who the recipients are. And it's governed by an independent board, and it's just a great program that helps the community. And it just doesn't help members of Polk-Burnett, it helps the community in general. Is there a plan published that illustrates the conversion from poles to underground, especially in Blackbrook Township? There isn't anything published on that. What we do is we analyze it every year, and there's a lot of things that go into that analysis. Do the poles there, we test our poles once every 10 years. And if we go through and 50% of the poles fail their test, we have to do something to that line. Okay, is it going to be overhead or underground? Okay, well, is it right along the road, easy to access? Maybe it's a good candidate for underground in that case. So it really gets analyzed every year depending upon many different factors. But we're always looking to improve our service, and one of those ways is if we go from overhead to underground. But again, there is only so much money in our construction budget, so we just can't do the entire system as underground. Even though it's been proven to help our reliability, it still takes time and money to do it, so we prioritize everything. Appreciate the feedback on there's been a couple comments about our response during the storm. It was a tough one. When you look back, the previous storm was in 2011 up in the Siren area, right around July 4th. And this storm was significantly worse in damage than the Siren storm. And not to make light of the Siren storm, because there was a lot of damage up there too. I guess my point was this storm was worse and we got it restored in about the same amount of time. And we're very proud of that, and we got it done safely. And I know it was a big inconvenience for all the people that were impacted, but we did our best to resolve that. We've got a question on the purpose of filing a lien on a property for your top 100 customers. I understand that many of our local farmers received a letter regarding this. So this is some incorrect information. Polk-Burnett did not install any lien on property. Polk-Burnett installed a lien on the capital credits of the top customers. And we did this because back at the previous economic recession, back in 2008, 2009, 2010, in that time frame, we had a customer, one of our larger customers, file for bankruptcy and resulted in an $18,000 loss. And that $18,000 loss affects everyone listening today. It doesn't affect stockholders like an investor-owned utility because all of you are the cooperative stockholders. So it affected everyone. So as we're going into the COVID pandemic, we looked at our top 100 customers and we said, okay, if any of these top 100 or 100 biggest customers had a bankruptcy, what we did is filed some paperwork that secured their capital credits that they have with us. And it secured those capital credits against any other creditor claiming those capital credits. So if member A went bankrupt and had $20,000 worth of capital credits by filing this paperwork, it was a lien on those capital credits, and that said no other creditor can get access to those. We're going to use those capital credits to offset whatever unpaid balance they have. So it's already in the bylaws today that we have a lien on the capital credits. It's an unsecured lien in the bylaws today by filing the paperwork. What it did is secure that, and it has no financial impact other than in bankruptcy that any other creditor cannot access those capital credits. So what it does is protect all 20,000 members of Polk-Burnett from taking a loss. Next comment, just a comment. Underground lines are great for preserving the natural beauty of Wisconsin. We totally agree. I mean, in addition to improving reliability, underground lines also improve the aesthetics of the area. So I guess that's one of the side benefits you get from underground. And there's a lot that goes into the decision to go underground. It really costs less to maintain too, because we still can't have trees growing up over the underground lines, but it does require less maintenance than if it were an overhead line. I guess I forgot a question. What was the cause of the two outages last week in the McKinley area, back-to-back days? So this is, I wanted to come back to this. I was going to talk about what impact that the recent heat wave had on our system. So in general, the system has been performing pretty good. July 4th, Saturday, this past Saturday, was an all-time peak. It was 25% higher than the last year's top day, and it was 6.5% higher than our previous top day, which dates all the way back to 2012. 2012 was a pretty hot summer. In general, so the systems have been performing well. We had a small storm that came through here on last Monday that caused a few outages in the Dresser and east of St. Croix Falls area. And the heat in general caused some smaller transformers to overload. But the big problem was a substation outage last Friday night at 8 p.m. and then again last Saturday, July 4th at about 12 p.m. And each of those outages lasted an hour. And what were the causes of those? And that's a good question because we really haven't been able to pin that down, to be entirely honest. And that's something we're still working on. It was hot out. That substation hit a new peak, but yet all the equipment was within specification, that it did not overload. So we're working on that, and the engineers down at Dairyland Power Cooperative are also working on that. So we don't have an exact answer for you, but it is a high priority for us, and it's an area that was unfortunately impacted in last year's storm too. So it's not related to anything left over from last year's storm, and it does not appear to be related to the heat, but and we just, sometimes you just have trouble finding the cause, but we're still working on that one. The next question going down the list is, how much input do cooperatives have in Dairyland's decision making? So Mr. Ed Gullickson, our board president, is also on the Dairyland board. So Dairyland is a cooperative made up of a representative from each of their member cooperatives. So you do have input into what happens down there. And that is important. As we said, 57 cents out of every dollar goes to that power supply portion. And, it's an important part of our planning. To add to Mr. Schuman's comments, meetings have historically been held at times that make it really difficult for cabin owners to attend. Not all cabin owners are seasonal. Some of us simply want a second home so that we have a consistent housing when we return to visit family, which I usually do all year long. Yep, I guess I agree with that. What percentage of members are seasonal? And that answer is about 40%. Regarding the rates, will the credit reimbursement on renewables ever be the same as what we pay in? So the way the renewables work today is for a given month, whatever you produce excess in that given month does get offset against what you buy from us. But then if there's excess left over from what you overproduce to what you buy, that excess that you overproduce is reimbursed at the wholesale rate that Dairyland Power has to go out to the market and buy power. So right now, when I talked about coal plants and excess of power, the fact is that the market has just been significantly declining in recent years. As more renewables have come on, the price of power has come down, and I think it used to be that rate that we would pay back used to be right around an average of, I think, 3 cents a kilowatt hour. And I just entered a number today for the previous month, and I think it was down to on average 1.8 cents per kilowatt hour. So it's been a big change. So that's why it's come down. Why don't off-peak rates change between summer and winter? I guess that's a question I don't. I think probably the best answer to that is just going back to the power market, that the off-peak rate when they go to buy power doesn't change that much between winter and summer. So off-peak, I mean between 11 o'clock at night and 7 p.m. in the morning. So what we're finding there is kind of similar to how the price has declined. The price in that time period is really the price of power is even getting cheaper than it has been. So what we're going to do with regards to our rates as we go into this next year, we're looking at our rates, and Dairyland has changed the way they structure their rates. And we're going to do a new study to see how our rates are going to reflect Dairyland's new rates. And we'll be looking at that. I guess we'll be looking at that question, the off-peak rates. So probably more to come on that. Question again, Polk-Burnett's monthly base charge is $35 per month. Northwestern's is $9 per month. This is a classic example of seasonal cabin owners being not represented on the board. So there's big differences when you start comparing cooperatives to investor-owned utilities because we serve a different membership. The cooperatives in general, well, Polk-Burnett in general is 6 customers per mile. Northwestern Wisconsin Electric Company has 14 customers per mile. And that has an impact on how rates are structured. And you look at the type of customer being served, Northwestern, about 50% of their customers are commercial. Polk-Burnett has about 20% that are commercial. So it's completely different companies, completely different structures. And all I can say is when you look at the average Polk-Burnett member, considering their monthly base charge and their average use, Polk-Burnett compares very favorably with investor-owned utilities and other cooperatives. We own a number of other properties in different regions of the country, and the base rate for this cooperative is the highest of any other utilities we deal with. Please review the base rate and more reasonable in line with other utilities. Mr. Sherbert, we do that every year, actually. And as I said, our base rate is structured on our cost of service and the cost to have those lines there all year long and for the type of customer that we serve. And when you compare, as I said in the previous comment, we compare our base rate and our kilowatt hour energy charge at our average usage. We compare very favorably with many other cooperatives and investor-owned utilities in the state. And I'd be glad to show some information on that at a later date. I don't know if we can post something at this annual meeting page with maybe some questions. Some of these questions maybe we'll put into a FAQ with questions and answers, and I can show you. It's probably easier for me to show you that than try to explain it verbally, but we do compare very favorably. How does solar energy compare to wind power in cost to produce? I think wind power cost is a little bit less than solar. And I'm not really versed on when you start talking about utility scale projects, and that's where you get your highest or your best cost. The bigger the project, the lower the cost. So really, I guess I don't have an answer to that, and I'm not really sure if you're talking residential or utility scale. But I think in general, wind power is probably a little bit less. But I'm not an expert in that area. And again, we could research that and post something back here. The next question, I firmly disagree. We have a right. Seasonal owners have a right, but you make it very difficult for it to actually occur. I used to always attend meetings until you change them to Saturday mornings. From Saturday mornings to the middle of the week. It's always a challenge we're trying to accommodate everybody when we schedule these meetings. Even today, we have to make the decision on this meeting. We had to make it in the middle of the pandemic, and when is it best? When can we hope to get the most people to it? We've tried Saturday meetings with the lunch. We've tried Friday evening meetings to try to accommodate seasonal members. Then we went to Friday afternoon to try to accommodate members with families, and we combined it with a member appreciation day. So we're always looking how to maximize our attendance and get the most people here because we are a cooperative. We want the feedback, and it's great that we're getting all these questions and getting all this feedback because sometimes we don't. And that's why I'd also like to say that's why we do a lot of surveys. So if you're out there, you get a survey. We're not doing that to be a nuisance. We're really doing that to get a feedback because we get this feedback and we take it all and we use it as part of our planning process to try to make sure we're serving you as best we can. We're probably not always going to agree on everything, as we probably talked about here with the seasonals, some of the seasonal questions, some of the rate questions, but we're looking at it as the co-op as a whole, and we do want as much feedback as we can get. How much has the level 2 vehicle charger at St. Croix Falls been used? Are there any plans to install level 3 DC charger in the service area? So I'll first address the level 3 charger. The level 3 DC fast charger, they can, as it would imply, that they will charge the electric vehicles much faster than a level 2 charger or a level 1 charger. However, I think their cost is about $65,000 to $70,000 to install, and there just isn't enough demand for that in the area. Where at the places I've seen those being installed are primarily along the I-94 corridor. I know there's some other cooperatives that serve those areas that either have them or are talking about installing them. But for our service territory, as it stands today, we're probably not going to see a level 3 charger. How much is a level 2 charger installed and we have that installed at Marketplace Foods in St. Croix Falls. It's about 3 to 6 kilowatt hours per day. And that's really unmetered today. And really what we're trying to do is just encourage the use of electric vehicles. And that's why it's unmetered. Thank you for offering the annual meeting online. We are seasonal members and are still sheltering in place at our primary home. Great info. So we appreciate the feedback, and I'm glad. I mean, this is a challenge for everybody. And sometimes as we were planning this, we thought, okay, this might exclude some people from coming by having it midday, and it also might benefit some others. So we're just trying to make the best decisions based on the information we had, and we had to make this decision way back, I think, in April to get through all the proper approvals and notice requirements. Another comment on the online meetings. Comments about seasonals and full-time residents. So really, when we don't want to start a battle between seasonal and full-time, what we do is we look at the service availability charges. We're really looking at all members, all single-phase services, and that's how we do it. That's how we do our cost studies, that we price everything on what does it take to install a service regardless of who is using it. And that's how we develop our cost. Maybe some clarification on regarding my previous question on renewable rates. When will the co-op ever pay us the same rate as what we pay in? I get the rate. I thought we were paying 2.5 cents per kilowatt hour is based on the wholesale market, but it discourages members from doing renewables when we don't get paid the same for free energy that we're putting into the grid. Yeah, as we go, I talked a lot about our rate studies and our cost studies. What we try to do as a cooperative is avoid the subsidizing any class. And you know, when we go into these, especially talking about renewables, and we get this question a lot, you know, you want to be environmentally conscious, environmentally friendly. Can I get more for my renewable system? You know, I'm taking the risk, I'm doing the investment. And, you know, if we paid, say, full retail rate for every kilowatt hour that's generated, even the excess, the problem with that is Dairyland Power can buy that on our behalf on the wholesale market at 2 cents, 3 cents, whatever the market is at that time. And if we're paying excess power at full retail rate, it's really creating a subsidy for that. And we do look at that, but you know, we're just trying to be as fair to every member as we can, and we're trying to avoid any subsidization. I was a member at Jump River from Rusk County, and their base charge went to $40. That's true. And there's cooperatives and investor-owned utilities with service availability charges higher than ours, and there's some with less than ours. So We will post some more information on how we compare with rates in our follow-up to this. And we'll just continue to work through the questions here. Just comments again on storm restoration, and again, we apologize for the problems this past weekend. It was, we worked, we had people working July 4th and just trying to figure that problem out east of the Balsam Lake area all the way up to the McKinley area. From Mr. Schuman again, the cost of service for seasonal cabin owners is a lot lower than other customers in the Polk-Burnett system. Seasonal cabins are typically around lakes and have the same density as typical residential neighborhoods. The current rate structure is penalizing cabin owners and subsidizing farmers and other members who live out in the rural area. So it isn't, there really isn't a penalty there. And that's why we are, as a previous comment had, they're not a seasonal cabin owner. They have a second home here that they like to stay in. So it's, we have residential users that are in a dense area that are low users, and we have people categorized as seasonals that are large users. So that's why we look at everything as a single service, and what's our cost to provide power to that single service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So another comment about the online meeting. So this is actually something we kind of talked about a couple of years ago. Is okay, well, we're going to do a in-person meeting, but should we stream it through Facebook Live, or should we do something else so people can view it online? So we appreciate the feedback, and hopefully once this pandemic is over, maybe we will come up with a way to do a combination in-person online meeting. So we appreciate the feedback. Just a thanks for the work that the team is doing. And another comment on customer service. I'm trying to keep up with them here. I think, have we got through all the questions here? What percentage of your customers take advantage of off-peak rates, and what could you do to encourage more off-peak usage? I guess I don't have the actual answer to that, but here is something interesting. Everyone talks about battery storage as a way to improve the grid, to take advantage of renewable energy. It can store it in a battery, generate it with renewables, store it in a battery, use that battery power in the evening time, and then I'm not using it from the grid in the evening time. Another way to do that is through the off-peak system and water heaters. So again, what we've seen is the cost of this off-peak power in the evening get really cheap. And the reason for that is, from what I'm told, is it's the wind generation that come the evening time, it's still windy. And when I talk about evening, I'm talking about after 11 p.m. Still windy, so there's still a lot of wind generation coming, yet the load has dropped off. So the price of power in the wholesale market after 11 p.m. is dropping. So that's one of the things we're doing, is encouraging our off-peak water heater program as a way of, that's essentially a battery. So what you're doing is you're charging your water heater up in the evening, off-peak times, cheap electricity on the wholesale market, and then you're using that stored water heat during the day. So that's similar. You hear a lot of talk about battery storage today, but you can accomplish some of the same with an off-peak water heater. So what can be done to encourage more off-peak usage? That's, again, something we're going to be looking at when we look at our rates this coming year. And the answer, I've just been given a Post-it note, but the answer is 25% of our customers take advantage of off-peak. And I have it at my house. I have a hydronic floor boiler in the basement, and I do have the 105-gallon off-peak water heater, and I love it, and we're going to be doing more to encourage that. And we have done more to encourage that. We have incentives right now for new homes or switch out from gas to electric that do incentivize the off-peak water heater. And I think I think at this point we'll move it along. But what we'll try to do is we'll try to summarize these chat questions, and we do appreciate the feedback. And the board hears all this, and it does get all discussed when we go to make our strategic plan for the next year. So we do appreciate this feedback today through the survey. You'll be getting a survey following this annual meeting asking for your opinion. So we appreciate the feedback that you give us, because if we don't know that there's a problem, we can't fix it. And, again, we're probably not going to agree on everything, but we are going to take that feedback, and that's the great part of being cooperative. So we're going to move this along, try to keep up with our schedule, and be respectful of your time. If you have additional questions or comments, you can contact us through the phone or through our website, and we're happy to assist you. And thank you again for participation in our 82nd annual meeting. Before we adjourn, I'd like to remind you of doing the summer shift. This is shifting your electric usage outside of 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. or to sign up for our Beak the Peak alerts to help lower cooperative energy costs. And again, this is all tied directly to the price of power on the wholesale market. Matter of fact, there's a Beat the Peak alert today. Right now, it's just the premium time for cost of electricity on the market. So whatever we can do and you can do to reduce those costs of buying from the market just saves us money in the end. So please contact our office or visit our website for details on these programs. Now I'd like to turn it back over to Ed Gullickson, our board president, to close the meeting.
And one final note this afternoon. Okay. First of all, I'm going to do this. And one final note. All co-op members who attended the online annual meeting will be in a drawing for a $50 electric bill credit. 10 winners will be drawn after the meeting closes. Winners will be contacted by the co-op, and their names will be posted on the website. Thank you for your membership. Thank you, Steve. Because the next annual member meeting will convene in June of 2021, according to the bylaws, I hereby declare that the 2020 Polk-Burnett annual member meeting is adjourned. I'd like to thank everybody for attending online. We appreciate that very much. If you, like Steve said, if you have any additional questions, please refer them into Polk-Burnett. This concludes our 82nd annual meeting. Thank you for attending. We will post the recorded meeting and all of the resources on our website. Please remember that our staff is here to serve you and that you can call with questions or concerns at any time. As our mission states, we are here for you, providing reliable power with efficiency and extraordinary service.